recording. I'm just writing down my notes.
It's so funny because when we do these podcasts, we have Zoom on, and then we also have our iPhones on with our FaceTime cameras. By the way, I didn't look up like how to do the recording or anything. Like I just assume this is how people do it because I always with the like ear pod and the mic, and when it comes to like editing, I don't see any other solution. Anyway, it's funny because I'm looking at the bottom of your chin on one camera and then your face on the other.
I know. I'm gonna just look down
underneath your desk, like during a.
Well, because it just vibrated, so it's kind of distracting if it like
sounds
vibrates.
Really like a good choice of words.
My phone. Great. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. Oh, the sky, I can see it. So I'm getting very used to Portland being gray. And when they say gray, they really mean gray. Like you just don't see the sky ever, 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 ever.
During winter?
During winter. So actually not even during winter, from like October until April, as far as I know. So it rains a lot. But I'm getting used to it. Honestly, like that, because I was warned about it so much, does not bother me now. What bothers me is that this city is so industrial that I'm bless you. God bless.
Thanks. I could not ward that off then.
I saw you trying that. It was like really painful. But I've missed like dance classes and things that I've had to go to at night because an industrial freight train will just cross right through the city, and I have to cross the tracks to get to like the studio. And the train, it's not like a 10-minute train, it is a 40-minute train. I don't understand.
That's crazy. Wow. I was watching something the other day and they talked about that being a genuine reason for people missing things and being late for work.
Oh my god.
I can't remember where it was in America. How weird. Huh. Yeah. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a 40-minute length train.
I think that one, there must have been a problem because 40 minutes is too long. I've been stuck behind ones that are 10 minutes late and like it's 10 minutes long, and that still makes me late. But what the heck? Anyway, that's that. That was on my mind. Thought I'd share that with our good old audience of Nelly and Rhiannon.
Our two listeners.
And maybe my boss, who knows. Anyway, weekly wrap. How's your week going? Your hair is so long and beautiful. It's crazy.
That's the thing, though. This is the great thing about Zoom. Like, it looks thicker than it is. Like, it goes really straggly and disgusting at the ends. I know. I did just also literally just have a shower because I went for a bike ride on my own because everyone in my house is busy. Aww. We're in lockdown at the moment, but you're allowed to do as much exercise as you want. So I had to go on my own, and it was really nice. Like, it was, I mean, you say that Portland is great. You should move to the UK because it's been sunny all day today.
Really?
So I was cycling, looking at the hilltops. It was really pretty. And then my chain fell off. So I had to be like, right, I'm a grown woman. I can do this myself. And I did it, which I think is the first time I've ever done it myself. I always managed to just like cut my hands on the chain. So pretty proud of myself. I know I've just done it before. I think because I never like tilt upwards. I was trying to do it on the floor.
Yeah. So I do have an existential question for you for the start of this podcast. Do you see yourself settling down in England?
I never used to think I did see that. That's a weird way of phrasing that sentence. Like, we all know I thought I'd be living in Paris for my entire life when I was 18. But COVID. In the video that I did recently for our channel about like reasons why I love London, I was kind of thinking, yeah, this is a great place to have as a base, like you always talk about with Portland. Like, I love London as a base, and then being able to like travel and, you know, go from there.
So London, wow, not the countryside, England, or not where your parents are, or Joe's parents.
I just love how like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just don't really think about it that often because like, how different is this year?
Yeah, but England though, yes, maybe.
Well, the UK. I love the idea of like Glasgow or. Yeah, I don't know though. Probably because just things are so easy, aren't they? When you know how things work. Like all the paperwork we're having to do for like different places as soon as
Oh
we
my
want to like,
gosh.
oh, maybe we should put a business in France. Oh wait, no, then we have to do all the paperwork in French.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Who knows though? Maybe I'll end
Who
up in
knows?
like Taiwan.
Maybe. Ooh, my throat too. A little
Okay.
phlegmy in the throat this morning.
I don't have the excuse for being morning. Do you see, what are you thinking? Your mind changes every week. So I think it's funny
It
that you're
does.
giving me like
There's no
such a
point
bloomin'
in
yeah.
asking me because my mind changes every week. But like, I asked because I've been thinking about that a lot this week. I think for my weekly wrap, and
Mm.
I think there are just very few places in the States that I would live. Um, I love Portland. It has its downs being so far away and rainy, but that's okay. I don't know if I love New York, but I think I would go there just because I know so many people and like job
Yeah.
opportunities.
That's what
was
I was saying about
thinking,
London.
yeah,
Like you just go there and you already have a few friends and it just already feels a bit more homely than if you go somewhere where you don't know anyone.
exactly.
Like
I wouldn't
Paris.
go
Didn't know
anywhere
anyone.
ever again that I didn't know anyone.
Really? To live?
So no,
I wouldn't expect that from
I'm
you.
tired of it. I think I felt that way before I even moved to Portland. Like I was moving to Portland because I knew Juliana.
Yeah, but I wouldn't expect you to put that like fine up. I think you're gonna change your mind.
I don't know, Hans. I think I'm pretty certain on that one.
Yeah.
Well, because you know, I've been taught. My new thing is like community and being alone. Like
Mm.
I think I would go somewhere temporarily, but the idea of like restarting for a whole year. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're right. I mean, if I want to go to Australia, I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna go there. But for settling down, I would like to settle down in a place where I knew a few more other people.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
So yeah, when I think
Fair
about the
dues.
cities that I would live in, it would be cities that people that I know already live in, and that's pretty much it. I thought
Is
about
this your
Austin,
weekly wrap?
Texas, but
Oh yeah. Oh, I'd like to visit you there, but no.
oh well, actually, I was thinking about us because I was like, when you visited the states with me, or when you came to visit me, we visited so many places.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's so
Jeez.
cool. I know. I was watching Atlanta the other day and I was like, oh, when we were traveling in Savannah, because they're both in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
And being like, oh, the big trees and just like looking, oh, so
Oh, the
nice.
racism is
Reminded me of
so
that trip.
wonderful.
Huh?
The racism in Georgia is just so great. Can't wait to live
Oh.
there. But they did go
Yeah.
blue. Anyway. Okay. I
Yeah.
feel like I've actually veered off
Yeah.
podcast land,
How was
and
your
this is
weekly
why
wrap?
I make this switch. I'm like, oh, podcasting, because it's so easy for me to just sit and have a conversation with you,
Mm-hmm.
forgetting like, oh, people actually need to be entertained. We have to give the people what
Oh,
they need.
as if that is actually why we started the podcast, though. No offense, anyone
Sorry, people.
who wants to be entertained. This was entirely so we could have a conversation semi-regularly.
But speaking of people that we know, my weekly wrap is that my highlight of the week is that Ellie, one of my other best friends who lives in North Carolina, um, is doing grad school interviews right now. And because I do that with my students, like the students that I
Mm.
coach at my job, I gave her my calendar so she could book appointments with me to do her mock interviews with me. And every day she does her mock interview with me. And I'm like going through my
Oh,
work schedule,
cool.
calling people, like, okay, Ellie, hi. And then I have to call Ellie and I'm like, oh, it's you. You're my best friend.
Do you do it really seriously or do you end up just having a chat?
We do it seriously, which is funny. And then at the end, we do some feedback and then we go off into like chatting. But I have another call after her, so it can't be too. It's
That's
so funny.
cool. That's so good. Oh, does that like brighten up your workday as well?
It does. It does. I think you should book.
Yeah,
You're
I
going
need
to
an interview.
school.
Who knows? Who knows? Don't share that with the world
Knows?
yet.
I'll cut it. Okay. What are we talking
Okay,
about
on
today?
to the real stuff, the juicy stuff.
The juicy
Let's
bit.
talk about money. Are we talking about money
Mm.
and travel? No, well, yeah, money and travel, but mainly how learn to deal with money on the road.
One of my personal
Yeah.
favorite topics.
Do you look back? Do you have on your list of things to talk about any blunders?
Oh, blenders. So so British now.
Now,
I just
day one.
Remembered I had a dream last night, and in the dream I had a thick ass British accent. So weird.
Sometimes you do, and I'm like, that you're just copying me. That's weird.
You just copying
Rein
me.
it in.
Okay.
Are you gonna watch The Crown on the weekend?
I do like that actress that stars. Is it like new episode this week?
There's a new season coming out on Sunday, I think.
I hate doing new seasons. That's part of my weekly my weekly wrap is I'm reading so much, and I started a new show and I hate it because I have to wait every week for it.
What is it?
Where is it? I can't remember.
You can't even remember.
I clearly
got it.
I was over it after 2 seconds. I'm like, this sucks. I hate waiting for things. I like to binge things and then check.
Tick, 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 tick.
No blunders get turned into lessons. So
okay, I think you should start.
Okay. My biggest money lesson that I carry with me now, that I probably started learning when we started traveling together, was to pay yourself first. Technically, that means like put your money into savings first, because when you have the system of going through all of your expenses and then at the end of the month being like, I'm gonna have this, my Alexa's screaming my calendar at me. When you go through your expenses and then at the end of the month you're like, I'll just put whatever I have left into my savings. It never works out. You always have to put your savings in first, and pay yourself first, and then you figure it out. Later. And the reason why this ties into us traveling is because one of the greatest examples of this is when we were sitting in a cafe in London, and you had this dream of going to Vietnam to visit your friend. Yeah. And then you were like, I don't know what came up, but I was like, I want to go. And then I was like, I'm going to go.
No, I think it was literally me being like, please will you come to Vietnam with me? And you're like, no, I have like responsibilities. I can't just like drop everything to go to Vietnam with you. And then 10 minutes later, which normally happens with us, you're like, right, so I've booked my flight. Have you booked yours yet? No, I haven't even booked my flight yet, and you've already booked yours. Oh yeah, we were literally getting told off by the woman in the cafe because we were booking those flights. Do you remember? We were booking them as we were sat there, and she was like, you need to buy something else if you're going to stay here for this long.
Well, I mean, when does that not happen? That's like always money. Tip number 2, don't coffee. Pay if you don't have to.
We paid once. Come on now. We should be entitled to sit there all day.
Then, oh my God, we were such freaking moochers. That day, I also remember you saying, do one thing a day that scares you, because that's kind of like my motto in life, because I didn't have my laptop charger. So I went around the cafe being like, do you have a charger I can borrow? Do you have a charger I can borrow, please?
Oh, it's for free though. That's fine. You weren't like, can I have someone's charger? Can I keep it?
Can you give this to me?
Yeah.
But anyway,
help me.
We bought those tickets, and I just was like, yeah, I'm going to Vietnam. And to be honest, when I made that decision, I didn't have the cash. I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. I didn't really have the cash at all. We made that decision in like February, I think. I think I was in London for my birthday or something, or maybe January. I don't know. March? I don't even know. And I just made that decision without knowing how I was going to make it happen. But if you make a decision and you pay yourself first, in this circumstance, paying myself first means like making the decision that I'm gonna save for this vacation or this trip. I've just made that decision. I figure it out. And it's the same thing with your savings. You make ends meet with what you have left in your bank account at the end of the month. You figure it out. And you don't compromise on your savings, and make it something that you do first and you prioritize.
We're giving this advice out, and I do normally agree with that, but at the moment I'm doing terribly at that for the first time ever. I'm just like spending more than I normally would. I think it's the pandemic. It's like getting to everyone and
what's your system?
Mine is the same as yours normally. Like the minute money comes in, I put it into like my savings accounts, like various savings accounts, pension, things like that, and then I don't touch it. But because I think the reason that I'm not doing that at the moment is because like during the pandemic, I was a little bit like, oh my God, I don't have any money at the end of the month to pay my rent next month. And that was like quite scary because I just had to like work. I mean, being freelance, I just have to like do extra hours and stuff. But yeah, normally I do it that way, but I don't know, this year's just thrown me off in so many regards with like so many things. But I do think that is the only way, really. It's the only
But
way to save money.
it's as the money comes in, you're tracking it. Like, what's your exact system? Because I have like on the first of every month, I sit down with my Excel spreadsheets, I budget it out, and then I like compare how I did this month versus how I thought I would do. And then I like put away into savings, and then pay all my bills. And then all of my transactions are logged on an app. Like every time I spend money, I put it in this app. I don't know if you can see that.
Mm. I
I'm
mean, this
pretty
is just so the
crazy, like
difference between me
meticulous.
and you. Yeah, this is so like why we differ, where we differ. Like you've just walked me through the admin of your cash system, and I'm like, I like get paid, and then a big chunk of that, as much as I think I can afford to lose, like not lose, obviously save that month, goes in my savings account, and then that's it.
But that's the thing, though. I think most people are like you. Most people are
Yeah,
not like me.
no, you're
And
ridiculous.
I really am. And
In
it's
a
good
nice
for me
way.
to like, because, maybe I might become a financial planner in the future. We'll see. So it's always good for me to like have your perspective because I try to set goals for people that like ask for money advice. And I'm like, why
Mm-hmm.
don't you just do this? It's like so obvious, Excel and all these other things. But it's not realistic for most people. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just interesting to me that even though you feel kind of like laid back and maybe disorganized, quote unquote, you still manage to save a lot of money. You're like a huge saver, and that's something that first attracted to me to you when we first started becoming friends. Because
Oh, thank you.
like we would go to cafes and pay with pennies
Mm-hmm.
for our
Embarrassing.
coffee. So embarrassing.
Oh, how many pennies? 500 pennies for you. You are
We were
welcome. Go
so
get me my
broke.
latte.
We were broke,
Yeah, but
but we
that's
weren't
okay life,
actually
isn't it?
broke.
Yeah. That's the so this is my point. I think I'm probably gonna be we're like counteracting points. Because I think yes, that is it's amazing to have a system and pay yourself first. Definitely do that. But something that I've learned to stop doing through traveling is to stop restricting myself on things that I want to do just for those extra bucks. I think like one of the reasons that I'm a saver is because I don't really care for things like hence the fact I'm wearing like years old
Hmm.
t-shirts and leggings. But things that I would want to spend money on when I was like first starting to travel, I'd be like, I really want like a latte today. And that would have kind of made the day nicer, but I wouldn't do it, you know? And
Hmm.
same with like, oh, I should go to, I shouldn't. I really want to go to this museum, but it's 20 euros, so I'm not going to go. And I feel like over time, I've become better at figuring out like what my financial priorities and interests are and like what my saving goals are, like making like very clear like decisions on how I want to spend my money, where I want to spend my money. And I think that's become like something that yeah, has kind of pushed me forward. So paying myself first, but also don't be then afraid to spend the rest of the money that I've got throughout the month. I would say my
Mm.
boyfriend's parents have been quite good with teaching me that one because they often go out for really well, not really extravagant, but like really nice meals, and that's like what they prioritize. And I always thought like, oh my god, £50 for like a meal, that's crazy
I
money,
know it's
but like that's what
interesting
they
to see
love
what
doing.
people like spending their money
Yeah.
on. So then that's my next question. What are your little splurges?
Oh yeah, coffee. It just makes me so like happy in the day.
Like
And
coffee
like
is your splurge in that you'll get whatever you want. Because for
mm,
me, during the week, I get a regular cup of coffee, and then in the
mm-hmm.
weekend, I get like lattes.
I just don't go that often. But when I do go, I want something
Mm.
really nice. Like I'll drink coffee at home most of the time, but if I'm going out for a coffee, I want to be able to like sit and enjoy it and chat.
Hmm.
And then the second thing, which has become like more important to me during lockdown is books. Because I was
Ooh,
just like
that's
buying, I was
funny
getting
because I
like,
just discovered my
yeah,
library and I was
yeah.
like, yes,
I've
I never
like
have to pay for
never
books
used the library.
again.
Yeah,
The
the
library.
opposite of what I just said. I always used to use the library, and now I find like if I really want a book and I'm really into it, then I need to just blooming buy it rather than being like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait for it to come to the library in like 3 years or whatever."
My library has audiobooks and ebooks as well that you can download for free. Isn't that
Well,
cool?
my
So
library.
I'm reading, shut up. So I'm reading like 3 books right now.
What are you reading?
I'm reading American Carnage. I'm listening to How to Do Nothing, and I'm trying to get through Becoming by Michelle Obama, which is really good. It's just that my other book is a little bit, I like it better.
Interesting.
Mm,
You're never reading so much. This is the library's. Well, you are. You read a lot, but you're never reading like 3 books on the
I
go.
know. I always just read one book at a time.
You know, it's
Good,
spelling a
glad you.
really dirty face for dirty face,
I've
evil face,
never
evil glare.
read.
For anyone that couldn't see it.
I've never read. I feel like I'm always reading something, but
Yeah.
I usually take a like really long time to get through things. But because I'm in like 10 different book clubs, I think that's what sparked it. I think COVID sparked it. Yeah.
What are your financial? What was the word? Little splurges.
They are the gym,
Mm,
my skin product, like health
mm,
stuff. I often splurge on like vitamin supplement or like protein powder.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll get like a random thing, like these glasses were a splurge. My like thingies were a splurge. I'll have like one of those a month, I think. I'd say the
This was a
best.
splurge. That was. I
Everything's a
was like,
splurge.
what are your little splurges? I bought this.
And then a
Yeah.
latte on the weekends. And then and then yeah. I like, none of that is mine. The bed sheets. These clothes are
Yeah.
not mine.
Yeah.
I eat my roommate's food. My apartment was furnished, so like I don't have much. And clothes are just not my splurge. I just don't care. In
Yeah.
fact, I am sad to go back into public one day
I know.
because I have to actually
I was
buy some
thinking that.
appropriate things that look like half decent. I just
Yeah.
look like a slob literally all day long.
Me too. Yeah. I'm just in like big jumpers that I got when I was like 12. Literally, I have a jumper on that I had when I was about 12 because it's so big and like comfy that I just wear it all of the time. Yeah.
As long as I'm warm, I'm fine.
Yeah. There you go. That's what we splurge on. I want to be warm.
Warm.
Full stop.
Yeah, I splurge on my electricity. My heat's on all the time. I'm freezing
That's
constantly.
not good. Oh, you got a car though as
I
well. But then
know.
I guess you need a car in America, whereas
You do.
that's not a splurge of mine. I would never
Yeah, it's
get
gonna
a
say my car,
car.
but it's really not a splurge. It's a necessity.
Yeah. What's your
Okay,
next point?
last point here. I want to know what your biggest money lesson is in life. Like if it's a lesson maybe your parents raised you with, or something that you like feel when you think of money, or what is it for you that is like your big money lesson?
I think probably what like this is so nice to you actually. One of my biggest things was talking to you about investing. So there you go. Because I don't think I'd
You
ever
library?
even Yeah, I don't think I'd ever like thought about it or read about it, or I never really asked my parents about it. I didn't really know anything. And then I remember being with you and you talking about your dad and how much he loves what's his name?
Warren Buffett.
Bester, yeah. And I was like, who is that? I've never even heard of him. I mean, he's not, I wouldn't say he's like, maybe he is really famous here, but I hadn't heard of him. And I started like looking into that a lot more, and then finally started actually investing. And so I would say that was like my biggest lesson was to do research. Like if you
I
want to
didn't know I
learn
had that
something,
impact on you. That's so
Yeah, and my money
sweet.
now is on high risk.
Good.
And I'm
You're
often like,
young.
this
It
is
should
because of
be.
Edwina. And if I lose all this money, I'm literally going to come and knock on your door and be like, you owe me money.
Come on over. I can't wait. You're gonna miss me.
Yeah. So you
That's so funny. I didn't
probably
know you
had an
had that
impact
impact
on
on you.
that.
That's so sweet.
Well,
I
we used
just
to spend a lot of time
assumed that
talking
your
about it, didn't we?
family talked to you about that kind of stuff.
No, we never really talked about money in that way. Like, we
Wow.
talked about saving and savings accounts and stuff, but no, I did my own research for investing. And I definitely learned, like, you know, you need to just sit down with a load of books and spend hours in front of the computer to like
Yes.
learn even like anything that you want to know. Like, I still feel like I don't know anything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but I've kind of just jumped right in and gone with the thing that I trust the most.
Yeah, that's kind of what you have
So
to
we'll
do.
see.
I like
Mm.
that you said you just have to sit down and learn it for yourself because I think when it comes to investing, so many people want it to just be like a product of like, boom, buy, like I'm investing, but it's such an
Mm-hmm.
ongoing process. And
Mm-hmm.
you can hire a financial advisor, which you should do. But before you do, it's a matter of disciplining yourself and getting your savings to a point where you're ready to invest. And that's the
Mm.
first step that people struggle with so much is that they don't really understand how important it is to yourself to invest and how beneficial it is to you that you're
Yeah.
literally making yourself rich and saving yourself from working the rest of your life by saving and
Mm-hmm.
investing. So that's the thing I struggled most with when I was like a money coach for 2 seconds was explaining how important that was to people and something that I obviously am really passionate about, which goes into my little money lesson to close this podcast off. That money is power. And I learned this lesson when I was an au pair because I came into my au pair year when I had no savings. I just came like
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to travel, and my host family sucked, and I felt like I had no voice and couldn't do anything. And switched
Yeah.
families because I had no money. Like I literally was dependent on them for
Mm.
everything and was so scared to lose my where I lived and lose my salary, etc. And if I had saved like a couple $100 and put it in my bank account and knew that I had the power to like get a hotel if I needed or whatever,
Yeah.
I would have felt more empowered to stick up for myself sooner and just be like, bye, I don't need you. Like, you're treating me like garbage. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And that bleeds into like so many other aspects of life. Like, you see it just in interactions with people and government and like as much as I want to say money doesn't matter, money is like you shouldn't focus your whole life around money. You also can't just ignore it. It's super important
Yeah.
and it's something that affects us all, whether you're rich or you're poor. Like you're going to be making or losing money. So I just think it's so important to be educated in that.
That, yeah. So, like, I would say reading more books has definitely been the best thing for me as well. But that, what you're describing there with, you know, going to friends and having money in the bank is called, and I don't know who termed the coin, termed the coin? Is that the phrase?
Turn the coin,
Um,
I think.
yeah, it's called a fuck off fund.
Oh,
And I thought it was I read about it recently or a while ago, and that's why I can't remember whose idea it is. And it's just that you basically have money to pull yourself out of literally any situation that you're in. It's like money that's hidden, it's exclusively
it's
yours. It's
coined the
not
phrase.
coined the phrase, termed the coin.
Over the term to coin a phrase. No, the term to coin a phrase. Google
coin
telling.
coined the phrase. Someone came up with the idea of, that's probably a better way of phrasing it. Oh my god, I can't speak today.
Sorry,
And
continue.
yeah, and it's basically like a stash of money that you have and no one knows about it apart, or you know, I think the idea is that like if you're in an awful relationship or situation or
Mm-hmm.
anything, like no one else knows about it, so you don't share it with your partner, you don't share it with anyone else, it's
Mm-hmm.
exclusively yours. And that's like the crazy thing that I'm often like super grateful of being like a woman in 2020 is
What year is
we
it? Who
actually
cares?
oh my god, we for the first time in like years and years and years have our own money, and it feels like, yeah, well, you know, 100 years ago women wouldn't have just had like the money
to leave.
to do whatever they want and leave. So I
money is
definitely
power. Exactly. Yeah, that's such a good tie-in. Yeah, in American, or I don't know if it's American or what, but I would have called that a rainy day fund.
Yeah, but I feel like a rainy day fund is like a small amount in the UK anyway. It's like a small amount of cash so that you can do something fun. And it's just like, yeah, have it for a rainy day. Like,
Yeah, I
it's a
guess that's
day.
true.
Whereas a fuck off fund is like 6 months. If I have to quit this job, I have the money to just find a new job. Or like a year. It's like a much more substantial amount of money. But yeah, that's true. Rainy day fund. And then I wouldn't have sworn in the podcast. So I feel like we both used to suggest to au pairs that they can go and move abroad and not take any money, and I did that myself. Like the second time I went au pairing, I literally had like nothing in the bank because I'd just been studying, so I didn't have anything. No, the first time I had like an okay amount, like a kid amount of money, you know, like a few hundred from like being like working as a teenager and stuff a bit. But the second time I'd like blown out all my money on like studying and living and, you know, just being in London, which is expensive. And I just remember being like struggling to pay for anything and waiting for that first check to come in, and it was pretty horrible. So thankfully my host family were just amazing and really nice. But yeah, I think it's kind of maybe irresponsible for us to tell people to go without money, because like you've just said, if you have money, you have the power to leave, take yourself into a hostel, travel around Europe for a couple months, figure it out, go back home. Like, you don't have to be stuck there.
Yeah.
So I might change that off the back of this conversation. Might change that.
All right, well, that's it. That's it. This is wonderful. Good to talk to you. See you
Look
on
at
the
how
next
dark
podcast,
it's got.
Oh,
Yeah, see you
shoot.
soon.
It is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
In the
You're
last
like literally in a
20
black
minutes.
room right now.
I know. I've got a light on, but
so 4 o'clock then. 4 to 4:05 is when it gets dark. Same here. And that's the end of my work day. So when I leave work, I'm like, what is this? I should now time to sleep.
Yeah. What is sunshine? What is daylight? Okay.
Thanks for listening to the podcast.
That's it.
See you in the next one, people. Bye.